gathers the traditional territory of the Fanatic and the Métis. Any additions, deletions, or amendments? Hearing none, I have a motion moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor Juno. Resolved that council approved the agenda for April 15th, 2024, regular council meeting as presented. All in favor? Carried. Disclosures of interest, I have one when John and Luke talk about an item in the budget. I will name you the golf course, so I won't be saying anything. Anyone else? Okay. Minutes of the regular council meeting, a motion moved by Councillor Juno, second by Councillor Jonathan. Resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting held April 2nd, 2024 be approved as presented. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Carried. Reports from administration, CEO Clerk John.
Hey, Your Worship. So the first item there is 2024 budget update, which is verbal. So we were scheduled to pass budget tonight. Unfortunately, administration had to make the call last week. We're dealing with a capital project or assisting with the capital project with the golf course. It seems to have kind of sorted out now. NOHFC is making some recommendations to us that will see the project get completed sometime within 2024 with an additional application for additional funding. What it calls for on the golf course is then to split the project up into two parts. So we will work on that, or we're continuing to work with the golf course on that. On other fronts on that project, we're still waiting for some more quotes on the electrical and the pump, just to see if the pricing was as accurate as it needs to be. But having said that, we are able to go ahead and move forward with budget. The only question that remains is when the new funding application comes out. If we apply and we successfully apply for a 90-10 split, the 10%, which would be the way we have it split out right now, is there'd be about $200,000 left on that project, mostly for electrical wiring hookups and hydro. The question is who's on the hook for the 10% of the 90-10 funding. So did I miss anything there? No, you probably just summarized it better than me, but that's basically the gist of it. Everything else in budget remains the same. We added just under 10,000 in roofing repairs to the cultural center and additional snow guards to the public works garage roof project. Those are ongoing, but we decided we'll put them in the budget since we're going an extra week. So, but yeah, that's basically it. Really, from administration's perspective, we're ready to go. We just need direction on when we're going to do this. And again, I guess we just sort out the overage or the 10% left out of the second project. So, Kenny, anything to add on your end? So I don't need to call on him. Just hear anything.
Yeah, got some rough numbers there, and Luke's already done a great job of making you guys informed on that. So yeah, I don't really have anything to add to what he would have said. I'm just here in case somebody wants to question, right? It's like you learn to.
For sure. Thanks.
Sounds good to me.
So all that's left is just to pick a day to pass it.
Yeah, back to just a budget now. Yeah, it's really to pick it up to pass it. Mayor Malashevsky shared.
The next meeting, I won't be here.
Yeah.
And I would rather be here when we pass it. The only other option is, well, not the only other option, but we can always hold a special council meeting, but you have to have at least 1 week notice given for that. John's away after NOMA, but Danny can handle that.
So next Monday would be, is that within a week or not?
Yeah.
Oh, Danny's away too. We have to have a week's notice.
Yeah.
So we couldn't just.
So brought to public check.
Okay.
Or to let the public know.
If we sit next Monday, that's still a week, but we'd have to put that out tonight then.
We could do that. That's not a problem.
Could you do it for next Monday?
Next Monday, next Tuesday, we're looking not too bad. Just February, is that okay with you prepared?
Yeah.
Hold it on.
Let's find Monday next.
Let's shoot for then if we can get it out of the way.
Okay, for that part.
Like in the afternoon, like 3 in the afternoon, or when you off, Chris? 3 too early for you?
No, I'll be here at 3:05. Maybe make it 3:10.
Then give me a buffer, so I'm not pushing kids out of the way.
3:30.
3:30. We don't have to run anybody over.
Perfect, sounds good. Okay, so then the other part, back to the golf course, is sorting out the potential 20,000. Council already has 40,000 in their budget. They give on an annual basis roughly to the golf course. So this project is gonna probably come in close to that number. Will council cover the additional costs?
Well, this goes back to what I said at the beginning of the budget, right? Right now, this is not a time to lose that asset. So even though I don't really want to spend another 20,000, I think it's probably a good idea to do it. Because if this mill gets up and running, that's gonna be a really good recruiting tool. When they start looking for staff. And then we're gonna have to attract a lot of new people, I think. This is my thoughts, guys.
I would also argue if the mill doesn't start up again, this is the year to do it, and not
Yeah.
next, when we won't be saying yes, do it next year.
So, I mean, I would think we should look at and say yes. It's gotta get funded somehow.
Burke?
I'm in agreement. It's tough, but you know, I agree. I think this is the time to do it, not.
Chris? Yeah, bird in hand.
There's no motion for now.
So,
If someone wants to make a motion, we can do it verbally and I'll include it in the minutes.
I can make the motion.
I'll second it.
That council cover any overages on the secondary HMC project related to the golf course. We're it up accordingly. Moved by Gary, seconded by Rick.
All in favor? Carried. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, because now you don't have to worry, you can get this going down there, right? You're not fighting or worried about money.
Next
Hopefully,
item is the NOMA conference renovation.
We'll get us an update, probably would have been fair to put this down in the AV Berlin update, but just do it here. We did request a delegation with Minister Smith at the NOMA conference, and we were granted that delegation. There's also a larger NOMA delegation that we'll also sit in on or are able to sit in on. So just be aware of that. The delegation with Minister Smith is I think it's at 10:10. So just keep that in your mind when we're at NOMA for the calendar. I'll send an invite, it's 25th, sorry.
25th, okay.
10:10, sorry. 10:10 a.m., sorry. Oh, yeah, okay. Then I think we have a half hour, like 25 minutes.
With him? And is he gonna be the only minister in the group?
That meeting, yeah.
And the other one out there too, John, is Forestry Alliance. I'm not too sure what happened to both. I'm gonna talk to Mayor McPherson in front of you tomorrow about that. He was supposed to find out. Have you ever heard of that, Rick?
Not a whole lot about it, but I know it exists.
But there's some parties invited to a meeting with, I can't remember who it was. Was it with Smith again?
I believe so.
Yeah, and we weren't invited. There was Red Rock Indian Band and a couple of the First Nations up in Long Lake, Geraldton area. A few other ones that I don't like, I think Redford was in there somewhere.
We want to be in there.
So Davey was supposed to find out.
Anything to do with forest right now, and I want to know everything going on with that forest.
But, you know, the chief of Pick River wasn't too happy when he read that. Anyway, we'll find out tomorrow, hopefully. Chief Building Official Agreement.
Thank you, Your Worship. So a chief building official is one of the, or CBO for short, is one of the 5 statutory positions required by the municipality in Ontario. In 2013, Paul Manzan or P. Manzan has been appointed as Terrace CBO. A decade has passed since the original agreement was signed and it's time for renewal. Council is being presented with a bylaw to renew our CBO agreement and essentially maintain and reappoint Mr. Manzan as our chief building official. Mr. Manzan has worked with the community for a decade and has provided excellent service both locally and remotely. The relationship in the renewed agreement remains the same, though there is an increase in the hourly and mileage rates paid. Bylaw also appoints Mr. John Zapperson as our plumbing inspector and specifically includes stipulations that the township shall maintain insurance or have the inspector's name additional insured under its policy that covers the duties of the inspectors at all times, including errors and omissions, commercial and professional liability. Much of this coverage is already implied under our existing policies. CBO, as I mentioned earlier, is a statutory officer. Cost of the CBO services, including the discussed increase, are included in the 2024 budget. Specifically, the hourly rate is up from 45 to 60, and under travel, mileage would now be reimbursed at the published CRA rates, which is currently. The options are approve the renewal of the agreement, Mr. P. Manson and Jay Saperzan, and the town chief building official and plumbing official respectively, and the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. Option 2 is to not approve that renewal of that agreement and direct administration accordingly. Administration recommends option 1, the approval of the renewal of the agreement with P. Manson and Jay Saperzan and the township chief building official and plumbing inspector respectively, and the appropriate bylaw be brought forward.
Any questions?
The rate that goes up, is that covered by the fees and building permits as well, or we have to?
We have raised our fees over the years. I think we're at $9 for $1,000 construction now, if I'm not mistaken.
That's not.
Over that, but we do increase it periodically. Sure.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion moved by Councillor Duno, second by Councillor Johnson, resolved that council approved renewal of the agreement with P. Manson and Jay Zaperzan as a township chief building official and plumbing inspector respectively, and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. Any other questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried. Chief or depot operation agreement with Circular Materials Ontario.
Thank you, Your Worship. So starting July 1st, 2024, the Blue Box transition extended producer responsibility will be in effect for Terrace and Freiburg. Circular Materials Ontario, or CMO, will be responsible for operating a new system for Blue Box materials across Ontario. The township needs to enter into an agreement with CMO to be able to continue to provide residents with depot services, depot recycling services, at the landfill. Terrace chose to opt out of providing curbside services internally, which therefore defaults to CMO, who will provide curbside service through a contractor, likely going to be GFL. Through extended producer responsibility, CMO is required to maintain any and all normal services, there are some exceptions that the township had in place as of August 2019, hence the requirement to maintain a depot landfill for the transition period. The transition period is from 2024 to 2026. Post 2026, there could be more changes coming to this program. That's why I kind of said that. Highlights of the agreements are as follows. Terrace will act as the contractor, meaning CMO will pay Terrace to operate the Blue Box depot at the landfill starting July 1st to December 31st. CMO and the contractor may, by change order, extend this agreement for up to three further periods of 1 year each. So we could potentially be going to 2029 with this if both parties are in favor of that. Program funding, and this is where I'm just talking about program funding and status fee on the depot portion of Blue Box producer responsibility is unknown beyond 2026 time. Curbside collection could remain unchanged. Terrace shall invoice CMO approximately $1,500 a month for depot operations. Financial implications: the revenue 6 months or approximately $9,000 for the depot operation is included in the 2024 budget. The options are that council approve the signing of the eligible community depot operations agreement with Circular Materials Ontario for the township's continued operation of the recycling depot at the Terrace landfill, and the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. Option 2 is that council not approve the signing of that agreement and direct administration otherwise. Administration is recommending option 1.
Any questions?
Just in light of the Sudbury thing where the contractor was not under the city, is there any overlap there of, safety inspections or whatever that we would be doing on them?
So in this case, we're the contractor. So we carry, like, CMO is contracting us to run our own depot, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
Our liability is ours. They're removed from liability. This was part of the back and forth on this agreement over the last little while. We're the contractors and we're already insured by our own insurance company.
Okay. So, but we would instruct them on safety violations, and
If they got involved in any way, yeah, we would make sure both sides are covered. But really they're just paying us to run the depot. Yeah.
Any other questions?
They're doing the pickup though, right? The
Curbside pickup is on them, that's correct. We opted out of that service.
Will that have an effect on our employees as far as their hours go, or do we have lots of work for them to do otherwise?
I'll ask Mr. Falzetta to respond, but I would say right away, we have lots of work to do, but
we actually bring in the landfill attendant usually it's casual for that.
Okay.
So that just. Yeah, and just to clarify a little bit for you, Bert, basically nothing is gonna change, except we're gonna get a check. We're still gonna collect out at the landfill, it's still gonna be our employee collecting the recycling of the landfill. No one's gonna see any change. The only change you're gonna see is a GFL truck going around last Thursday of the month instead of us. Other than that, not everything's gonna look exactly the same.
And it's still going, it can only be 1 day a month.
Right, yeah.
that I just remember it's only for the people at the landfill is only for 2 years guaranteed.
Yeah,
right.
The curbside should continue beyond that, but
Yeah.
again, there's lots of moving parts at this provincial level, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have the motion moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor Duno, resolved that council approve the signing of the eligible community depot operations agreement with Circular Materials Ontario for the township continued operation of the recycling depot at the Terrace landfill, and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. Any other question? All in favor? Carried. Public Works landfill annual monitoring report.
Thank you. The township contracts out environmental and engineering services for the municipal waste disposal site to KGS Engineering. Each year, an annual monitoring report is produced and provided to the township on the work that's carried out at the site, groundwater testing results, along with recommendations for any work to be carried out. The summary of conclusions from this year's report: groundwater flow at the site is generally to the west and southwest. Groundwater velocity at the site is estimated between 4.7 and 47 meters per year, with a hydraulic gradient across the site of approximately 0.003 millimeters. Groundwater quality at the site is impaired by both landfill and sanitary sludge leachate, with the greatest impairment observed at monitoring wells MW5 and MW7, and located immediately down gradient of the waste pile. MW5 is also located within the former Terrace sludgy drying bed. Leachate impacts were not measured in off-site monitoring wells 10 and 11, located within the proposed containment attenuation zone, or the CAS. Groundwater at both of these off-site downgradient wells is generally similar to background groundwater quality conditions, not calculated reasonably to the criteria in 2023. Based on 2023 monitoring date, off-site ground flow may be to the south towards Lost Lake and require revising the proposed location of the CAS. Additional investigations would be required to determine actual flow direction. The estimated volume of waste within the landfill at the end of 2023 was approximately 201,295 cubic meters. The remaining capacity for waste, daily cover, and intermediate cover is estimated at 61,480 cubic meters, for the remaining life expectancy of approximately 13 years, based on an updated annual landfilling rate of 4,700 cubic meters per year. So there's some recommendations from KGS based on the results of the 2023 monitoring and sampling program. Following recommendations are suggested for 2024. 2024 landfill monitoring program: monitor and sample groundwater 3 times per year, spring, summer, and fall, as in 2023. This should be done in order to monitor landfill leachate impacts to groundwater. As in previous years, groundwater should be analyzed for leachate indicator parameters in the spring and fall, and for comprehensive parameters in the summer. Complete inspections of all site monitoring wells in accordance with the MECP's 2010 monitoring and reporting for waste disposal sites, groundwater and surface water technical guidance document. Complete a detailed report summarizing and interpreting the results of the 2024 program and provide recommendations for future programs as required. Operations and waste placement: waste at the landfill to be placed only within the approved 3.2 hectare landfill footprint. Waste added to the landfill should be placed such that the final closure geometry will include side slopes of 4:1 and a top slope of 20:1. Review landfill operations such as redirecting waste materials, recycling, and compaction methodologies to extend the life of the landfill. 2024 contaminant attenuation zone: investigate offsite groundwater flow direction and reevaluate the location of the proposed CAS as needed. From additional discussion separate from the annual monitoring report, administration reached out to KGS to discuss the status of the landfill expansion. Specifically, the situation remains that the current CAS design is based on the Potential for expansion into Scribers LUP area. Terrace Bay has also had discussions on alternative options with KGS for potential. So regardless of whatever expansion path is taken, 13 years remaining life does not leave a lot of time for getting a landfill expansion designed and approved. KGS suggests we may want to do some background work on the expansion to the south as an additional monitoring well to firm up groundwater flow direction to the southwest, mentioned in the conclusions above, and conduct an additional topographic survey to get the most accurate data on waste placement and volume. Prices and timelines for this optional additional work will be forthcoming. KGS also suggested that the township pursue all avenues of waste diversion to prolong the existing site as much as possible. Some of the suggested actions discussed were getting more aggressive on all diversion programs, blue box, organics, household hazardous waste, and limiting or controlling what is collected during residential cleanup weekend. Administration will be bringing forward recommendations within these topics and seeking direction from council on future waste diversion activities in residential cleanup week. So financial implications, none at this time. If administration will bring forward any recommendation for action pricing council at further date. And there's no options as this report is presented. Council's information only. And any technical questions that I more than likely cannot answer, we'll forward to KGS, get answers back. And the recommendations council accepts the KGS landfill monitoring program report as presented. Any questions?
Yeah, are we gonna entertain looking at the expansion to the south? Like, I think we should be working on that just in case.
I think that's what we said. Hey, John, look at the,
Okay, so in the report, we did discuss like the initial discussion with KGS after this. These additional reaching out separately from the annual monitoring report was continuing that conversation with KGS. As stated, the work they're recommending to do ahead of time if we want to continue to work on the expansion to the south would be it's optional, but it's also additional cost which we currently don't have budget. So we don't have those prices either. So that's something Ryan and I can bring forward and get the price for it and council to make a decision whether or not they actually want to do that work this year or push it off next year.
Ryan,
And actually budget for it.
who does the well testing?
We pick up the samples and then they go to ALS to get analyzed.
I think this also should put some, I don't know, pressure on us meeting with Scriber Council to like just about this issue. Like we should all be sitting down at the table together to discuss this and like, here's the numbers. Are we gonna?
I talked to Mayor Mullen, and what he told me is their former acting CAO is working on the agreement that we gave them a year ago. Not what June or July or
Later in the fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
anyway, they looked at it and there's a few things in there that they're looking at getting changed. I'm not sure. We don't know which one yet, but Mayor Mullen said, well, that's a priority for him all.
I should hope so, you know, before we start throwing money at expanding the south and really looking at that as an option. And I understand the history of this, but I think this really should put pressure on, let's actually sit down and hammer this out and save some bank.
Yeah. Verse.
KGS give any indication as to how long, 13 years, that's not very long.
Well, might be less when they do if they do another survey. They dropped quite a bit the last survey they did.
Yeah.
From 42 to what, 27 or something like that.
37.
Yeah.
You're out, it's good.
No other questions?
No,
Okay, we have a motion moved by Councillor Juno, second by Councillor Johnson, resolved by Councillor accept the KGS annual landfill monitoring program report as information. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and leading into that, Ryan, the residential spring clean, please.
Thank you. Each spring, the township, as well as the township describer, schedules a residential spring cleanup week that allows residents to put yard waste and other household items by the curb outside of the container tag regular collection program. Administration suggests that cleanup week be held May 11th, May 18th, 2024. There's an attached notice there with the full detail. The financial implications will be a lot of landfill revenue at the site, as the site will be free of charge during the period of May 11th, 18th. The landfill site will be open from 8 AM to 5 PM from Monday, May 11th to Friday, May 18th, but still closed on the normally scheduled dates. Additional costs and revenue losses have been included in the 2024 operating budget. And as a note, there will be no charge for the regular Tuesday garbage collection as well that week. Options before you, option one, that council approve the 2021 spring residential cleanup week to occur during the period of May 11th to May 18th, 2024 as outlined, and the fee be waived at the Terrace landfill for the duration. Option two, the council does not approve the conditions of the 2024 residential spring cleanup week and request administration to make changes as directed. The recommendation is option one.
Any questions?
Given our previous report, I wonder if this should be one of the last years we offer this survey.
Oh, definitely something we might have to look at,
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know.
or tightening it up anyway.
And I don't know if there's even a way just to get an idea of how much comes in that week. Versus, I mean, obviously more will come in than usual, but if there's a way to calculate or monitor.
Yeah, I mean, the short answer to that, to be honest, is a lot.
Yeah, like
That's
even
what
if
comes
even
in.
if it's simple as taking a picture of every happening that comes through, you know, just
The pickup we do is, you see a dump truck and a loader, we have for 3 full days. So it's a lot.
Mhm.
And, that is something we're gonna be looking at throughout 2024 as recommendations for 2025.
Kurt?
And if we don't, where's it gonna go?
Right, that's my,
And at least if we're doing it, we're containing it in the way it should be,
that's right.
rather than it being, down this road or that road or wherever.
There is that risk.
Yeah.
But I guess, Bert, until you get a handle on the landfill, which only has, next year will be 12 years left, we gotta figure something out. Unless,
Definitely.
we get that agreement with Scriber, we go salt or whatever, then you get a lot more life out of it, so. John?
That's one of the things that Ryan and I discussed initially. Again, we're not bringing it forward tonight, but furniture is a big problem. Furniture is a problem for us at the landfill compacted. It does not compact well, and that's one of the things we'd be looking at. If we're taking that kind of thing, we should be charging something for it, because it is causing some headache. But that's just one small example. I mean, you run over anything with all those that will eventually integrate, but it is something we do have to deal with. But we are getting aggressive on our other diversion programs. We do offer yard waste now for free, as long as it's clean yard waste, organic material only. We will give that free at the site. Household hazardous waste day is getting seemingly bigger and more expensive every year, unfortunately. But it is keeping all the hazardous stuff out of the landfill, which is great. The last thing we need is one of our wells to show an adverse due to some sort of household chemical. And then just any other programs we can take advantage of. Have the clothing donation box out there. I don't know how well that's running. We'll revisit that. But that was another thing that had come up in past budget surveys that we should be looking at, tactile recycling program. So really, it's Ryan and I and our management team actually just sitting around talking about different ideas we can try out every year. Compactor would help. I don't think it's in the financial cards for us right now at this moment, but we've stated that in the past, and we do have a dozer right now, so that's how we're going to run the next while. But that is something KG and the team bring up as well too. Along with getting aggressive on recycling, we should invest in get the true 40% actually.
Refresh my terrible memory. Now, are we accepting freezers and fridges right now at the dump for a fee?
Yes,
We are?
Yeah.
When did that start?
January.
It did?
Yeah, we
Okay.
approved it at fees and charges. That was like December. I think.
Okay, I thought we did, but some people had mentioned to me that they hadn't heard of it or whatnot, and I swore we did it.
A couple of the mail outs that have gone out, we've put it on there. It's actually on this attachment here. For the spring cleanup, just so people don't think that fridges are free, so gotta pay your $100.
Yeah.
It's not it hasn't gone as well as I thought it would. There's 1 or 2 fridges out there. I thought there would have been more. we're still seeing fridges coming in that are tagged. So.
Yeah,
But it is an option and people are starting to learn about it.
Yeah, I just feel like just from just having conversations in the community, a bunch of people weren't aware of it. So it's hard to push some of this information out to them, but I just wanted to double check because I remember, but I don't know. It just
The yard waste is the same. A lot of people don't realize we're taking clean yard waste.
Yeah.
I just was dealing with somebody today and said that's free, but it has to be clean. And that's the message. If you're giving the message in the community, make sure people understand the yard waste has to be clean. If it's got coffee cups and garbage bags in it, that's garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Garbage. Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, a motion moved by Councilor Johnson, seconded by Councilor Dube, will resolve that council approve the 2024 residential spring cleanup week to occur during the period of May 11th to May 18th, 2024, as outlined, and that the fees be waived at the Terrace Bay landfill for duration. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Spear Country Cruise Ship Agreement.
Thank you. I think mine's a bit more cheerful. So Terrace Bay was certified by Transport Canada as an occasional use marine facility June 2022. This certification was a necessary first step towards allowing cruise ship passengers to disembark at Terrace Bay docks. In August 2022, council met with Stephen Burnett from the Great Lakes Cruise Association, as well as representatives from international cruise lines to discuss potential of future cruise ship visits. In October 2022, Forest Marketing began developing a Lake Superior North Shore cruise ship market readiness report. One recommendation from this report was to have a single regional tourism operator coordinate with cruise lines and on behalf of municipalities. In February of last year, On Cruise indicated that they're interested in disembarking passengers in Terrace Bay during their 2024 season. For our current discussion, Le Champlain, which is a 184 passenger, 118 crew member cruise ship operated by Ponant, has been granted permission to make 4 port calls at the Terrace Bay Marine Terminal. These port calls are to take place on September 12th, 13th, 15th, and 16th, 2024. So over the past 2 years, Spear Country has been working with the Great Lakes Cruise Association, as well as cruise lines, to identify activities for their passengers while in Terrace Bay and our peer municipalities. Administration is bringing forward an agreement that will establish a $2,000 security fee and a $20 per person disembarkment fee at the Terrace Bay Marine Terminal. These fees are consistent with industry standards for ports of our size. The agreement also identifies that 20% of these costs will be awarded to Spirit Country to engage with cruise lines to promote, schedule, and coordinate cruise ship visits to our community. Spirit Country will be responsible for coordinating activities between the cruise lines and local vendors, including advertisement, establishing prices, and collecting payment. Municipal staff will provide Spirit Country with contact details and make recommendations as requested or necessary. So this agreement would be in effect from April 15th to December 31st, 2024. In January 2025, council would be presented with a recommendation on continuing the partnership with Superior Country. Our financial implications. So should Ponant disembark passengers at the Terrace Bay Marine Terminal, the township could receive anywhere from $2,020 to $7,920. If council chooses to enter into the agreement with Spirit Country, 80% of those funds would remain with the township. Our option A, the council enter into agreement with Spirit Country and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. Option B, the council does not enter into agreement with Spirit Country and directs administration otherwise. Your recommendation is option A.
Any questions? Gary?
What are the implications for our dock on those days? Is it basically they're used only on those days or open to the public? Do we know?
So kind of tough question to answer in that our docking or our security procedures are not allowed to be shared publicly. So the docks will remain available to other boats. It will remain available, but there's certain berths that would be designated for the cruise ships.
So they have their own boat to bring passengers into the,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they would anchor offshore,
Yeah.
not sure how far, and then they would Zodiac in. I think this boat has 8 Zodiacs.
I just wonder, why did they pick those dates like in the fall? Why didn't they pick like July or August or whatever?
I have no idea. I assume they're in Thunder Bay around that time. Effectively. So I'm the security officer for through Transport Canada, and they emailed saying, "Hey, do you mind if we come?" And I said, "Sure." And then they didn't respond to us for over a year.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty.
What kind of uniform do they provide you with as security officer?
Also can't share that information, but it is listed in.
You get him a wish. That was not a serious question.
Any other questions?
I think this is good news. It'd be great.
Sorry, for sure.
It's exciting. I do kind of worry about some of our businesses uptown that don't exist. Various reasons. So I hope, it goes well, and I hope that it might be enough to inspire maybe someone that's got a bit of a dream to start something that even seasonal, which might be their opportunities.
Any other questions or comments?
I'll do my best to keep council informed of activities and excursions happening as I learn more, or we learn how many people are disembarking or what time.
Thanks, Luke. Okay, we have motion moved by Councillor Duno, seconded by Councillor Johnson, resolved that council enters into an agreement with Superior Countries for the collection and use of marine terminal related fees, and that the appropriate bylaw will be brought forward. All in favor? Carried.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks much.
Communication. Item from Hope Fair declaring June 7th Hope Fair Day. We have a motion moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Johnson. Whereas access to healthcare is a fundamental right for all citizens, regardless of their geographic location. Whereas Hope Fair, a charitable organization, has been tirelessly dedicated to providing access to healthcare by facilitating free flights and other services for patients living in rural and underserviced communities in Ontario, ensuring that they can receive vital medical treatments regardless of distance or financial means. Whereas Hope Fair has been instrumental in bridging the gap between smaller communities and hospitals far from home, reducing the barriers that often prevent individuals from reaching medical care. Whereas the impact of Hope Fair extends beyond the individual patients served, positively affecting families, communities, and the healthcare system as a whole by promoting wellness and reducing the burden of untreated medical conditions. Whereas the compassion, dedication, and commitment demonstrated by Hope Fair and its volunteers embody the spirit of community and the belief in the inherent value of every individual's well-being. Now therefore be it proclaimed by Terrace Bay that June 7th, 2024 shall be known as Hope Fair Day, in recognition of the invaluable contributions made by Hope Fair to the health and well-being of individuals in Ontario's remote and rural communities. We urge all citizens to join us in celebrating Hope Fair Day and to reflect on the significance of ensuring equitable access to healthcare for all members of our society. Let us reaffirm our commitment to supporting initiatives that promote health equity and extend our gratitude to Hope Fair for their unwavering dedication to serving those in need. Any questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, bylaw. We have a motion moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolved that bylaw 13-2024 being a bylaw to enter into an eligible community depot operations agreement with circular materials be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on the 15th day of April, 2024. Any questions on that? All in favor? Carried. Next bylaw, moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Johnson. Resolved that bylaw 14-2024 being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with P. Manson and J. Zaperzan for the provision of chief building official and related inspection services be read a first, second, and third time. And finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on this 15th day of April, 2024. Any questions on that? All in favor? Carried. And moved by Councilor St. Louis, second by Councilor Johnson, resolved that bylaw 15-2024 being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Superior Country for use of the fees collected at Terrace Marine Terminal be read first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on this 15th day of April, 2024. Any questions on that motion? All in favor? Carried. Filing of EV Terrace Bay. We have a little update. We met with Dennis and Mike Lazier, myself, John, and Gary last week. Didn't really tell us anything we didn't already know, just that we can't, because of the, I guess, confidentiality agreement and stuff like that. He did say they still are talking with, there's still interested parties. We asked them if there's any truth to the rumor that they're removing stuff from the mill. He said, yeah, they are removing stuff, but it's stuff they're not using right now, as in, he said bearings, I don't know, said anything else, John?
Just talk about the chemicals.
Chemicals, yeah, bunker C and methanol. The other thing, like I said, we're meeting with, Minister Smith in Thunder Bay next week, Thursday, I believe it is. And we have a half an hour with them, and, I'll see, like I said earlier, I seen them first and more at our meeting in Thunder Bay, and that's about that forestry line. But, I mean, I like this, I personally myself, I don't think bashing the company or negative comments and stuff like that would help matters, because if there's the potential buyer and they see the negativity in the community, stuff like that, they might just say, forget it, So, John.
Just one additional thing that I'm privy to anyways, I believe the steelworkers are working with the province on getting the Employment Action Center up and running. So you'll see that come out in the next few weeks, once it's approved at the provincial level. I don't know quite what it'll look like, but for us, the township, if they need space to run or that sort of thing, we're working with open arms, so we will facilitate that any way we can.
Has there been any official talk of the Mill Road? There was a letter from Long Lake 58, the chief, talking about it being potentially absorbed by the province, or should be absorbed by the province. Have we heard anything official from the province about or where the money went for the maintenance of the Mill Road this past winter, or anything moving forward in that regard, as it is an emergency access road? And from what I'm hearing, it's in terrible shape, but I've also been hearing rumblings that it's being taken over by the province, which I haven't heard anything official. So
I think, doesn't the forestry management group take care of that? Then they have, each company like AV would give them X amount of dollars a year for stumpage fees, I assume, and all the other mills in the area. Being in that group, Chris, they have no money left.
Yeah.
To maintain the road.
Right.
Because nobody's paying them to.
Yeah.
Well,
I assume that.
some of them,
So,
some of them have, what is it called, force majeure.
mhm.
I've got a few emails saying they're out of it. AV, Columbia Forest Products, I think was the other one out of First, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, there's a couple that are out of it, and some of the emails I've seen, they've got no money to maintain the road.
No.
So,
But that's gonna have to be a discussion with them.
But might be something to bring up with Minister Smith, and just what the status is, but Paul or Mayor Melchizedek summed up, I believe it's a mixed bag of responsibility.
Right.
Berla is the one majority ones there. So
Yeah.
operating, they can require to maintain specific levels. So we see where that all shakes out.
Exactly, but yeah, I just wanted to bring your attention, thank you.
Anything else, Dan, John?
No, I think you've hit everything that we're up to. Again, just reminding, we do have a delegation. That's gonna be, I think, a pretty important delegation at Noma, so we'll see what we hear. Continue to work with the mill and all parties involved. Trying to keep this mill in Terrace Bay running for the foreseeable future.
If you guys got any questions or ideas or whatever the case may be, bring it forward to John for presentation or questions from Minister Smith, because John or myself can't think of everything. So, okay.
Yeah, and it would be a good idea if we have any ideas, give them to John and get some of this. You might want to forward off to him ahead of time, and then so we don't blindside him with it, especially if he has to look up some information.
Yeah. Hey, question period. Any questions? Bill, you have any questions? Kenny, you have any questions? No.
Just anybody online, if you have a question, now would be the time to type it into the chat. First call. Second call. And final call. Any questions online here?
Thanks, sir. Okay, we have motion moved by Councilor Johnson, second by Councilor St. Louis. Resolved that council move the next portion of this meeting in camera to discuss minutes from the previous in camera session held on April 2nd. And one matter regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, regarding performance evaluations for non-union and management staff. One matter under proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board regarding proposals to lease the airport property. And one matter under proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, Taylor Township owned vacant lot. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, we're in full.
Yeah.
Yeah, same, I'm with her.
Everybody,
Drink all that water, Bert.
tune back in online, we adjourn. It might be a while, but you can use the same link. Have a good night, everybody. Welcome back.
It is an emergency access road, and it has been provincially funded for the maintenance to the mill. And with the mill being now in warm idle, that money seems to, in my opinion, has disappeared, and it's not being provided to the people that have traditionally maintained it. If I'm not mistaken, there's a company out of Hearst, there's a company around Longlock as well that have maintained. There's various companies that maintain various sections of the mill road. And our mill, again, from my understanding, maintained north to a certain kilometer, which I'm not 100% sure of. Again, just to reiterate, my biggest concern is why isn't it being maintained? If the funds were available, where did they go? And then how do we, moving forward, take that seriously as an emergency access road and look at the provincial government and say, okay, if there is money to maintain this road, we should be looking at somebody, a provider, maybe that money should go directly to these companies to do it rather than funneling through the mill with its sort of ups and downs. And then that way we can have an emergency access road in case there is an emergency within our community.